Hello, this is Derek Patrick with King March Chess Educators. I'm featuring a game from last year's Chicago Open tournament in 2013. I played Woman IM Victoria Ni. She was white, and I played black. This is round 6. Okay, D4, knight F6, C4, E6, knight C3, D5, C takes D5, E takes D5, bishop G5, knight BD7, E3, bishop E7, queen E2, or queen C2, castle, bishop D3, rook E8, knight G to E2. Okay, up to this point, both players have been playing pretty solid opening. Quiet opening because nothing crazy has happened yet. Theory shows to play C6 here. It's just simple and solid, kind of setting up like a Slav type setup with your pawns on the queen side. But I played more ambitious with C5. Castle. And now here I make a mistake, and I play A6. Because according to computers, white can play D takes C5, and white's ahead by a pawn. But my opponent did not play that. She played rook A to D1. C4, forcing bishop F5. And then I played B5. So my plan's just to continue with queenside expansion. Okay, now, logically, after B5 just happened, you want to stop B4 with A3. One sample line would be like A3, G6, bishop H3, and then knight B6. And the position's equal. Should also mention that this rook should actually be on E1, and then here, put it back on E1. Then knight G3, F3, E4. This is like the typical plan of this opening. I've encountered the system like this against several IMs, and it's very tough to play against. So she should have played A3. Instead, she makes a inaccurate move with F3, and I of course take advantage with B4, because now I'm removing a piece from controlling E4. Both sides want to control E4 as much as possible. Then I play G6, bishop H3. Now the bishop's not covering E4. I come here to exchange both of those pieces off, the bishops and the knights. She plays knight B6, queen B6, knight F4. I really like this move because if I exchange on H3, she doesn't have to take back with her G-pawn and ruin her pawn structure. It'll also attacks my pawn on D5 and allows the queen to swing over to F2. Now here, A5, like take the bishop on H3 followed by A5 is the ideal plan, but I got too ambitious again and played B3. A takes B3, C takes B3, queen D3. Again, I like this move because I can't attack her queen. It attacks two of my 3 weak pawns, because these are all weaknesses. And it helps the rook guard D4, so now this rook can shift over to A1, which it does next move. So queen D3, bishop takes H3, knight takes H3, rook A to C8. Just trying to take the open file. She comes back with knight F4, Now the threat is bishop f6, knight takes d5, winning a pawn. So I play queen b7. Now my queen's guarding all three of my weak pawns. Rook a1, putting pressure. Now I find myself in a defensive position. White just takes over, and I have to tile all my pieces down to cover these three weak pawns. So rook a8, a nice rook lift by rook a5, attacking here. So I play rook e to d8, rook f to a1, putting more pressure on a6, rook d6. She plays rook c1, and I reply with rook c6. If rook takes rook, queen takes rook, rook back to a1, white has a pretty decent advantage, but she went back over to a1. And at this point, I realize I don't want to sit back and try to tie my pieces up and defend. I want to actually get like active counterplay. The only other thing I could have maybe did was king g7, h6. But she's going to exchange on f6 anyways. So I play rook a to c8 to create counterplay down the c file. She plays bishop f6, bishop to f6. And here, there's no rush. I mean, white has 2 pieces on this pawn and 3 pieces on this pawn. There's no rush to take a pawn. So instead she creates some luft for her king because she's anticipating that I'm going to play rook c1 check, which is good. So bishop h4. Knight takes d5. Okay, so now white's up a pawn. If I don't check immediately and I try to get bishop g3 in to cover these 2 squares, then knight c3 stops me from penetrating through on the c file. So I have to play rook c1 now. Rook c1 check, rook takes c1, rook takes c1 check, king h2. Okay, now here I play queen b8 check. The 2 moves that are the best are rook c2, attacking this pawn, or bishop d8, attacking the rook. So I play queen b8 check. I should also mention that this is move 31 with queen b8. There's a time control factor where you have to play 40 moves in 90 minutes, an hour and a half. And for those of you who don't know the time control rule, if you don't make 40 moves in an hour and a half, you lose by default by not reaching the time control. And at this point, both players have about 2.5 minutes left to make 9 more moves. So we're both in severe time pressure. So queen b8 check, f4, queen d8, which attacks both of these pieces. The best move is rook c5, because it pretty much forces me to trade off rooks. Because if I don't, say I play like rook over to e1, she can play queen takes b3 or a6 and be up another pawn. But instead she does play queen a6, and now threatening to just play queen a8, pin my queen to my king, and exchange queens off up 2 pawns. But black doesn't want that to happen, so I play king g7. Queen b6, offering queens off, and I play queen e8. The idea is to get my queen to her back rank as quick as possible, because this bishop covers the escape square, and my rook is back here. If I can play queen e4 to b1, rook h1 will just be checkmate. So queen e8, queen b3, so she takes a 3rd pawn, and I play queen e4. If you pause and look at this position and count the number of pawns, you would see that white's up 3 pawns. And you'd think, wow, white's winning, up 3 pawns. But if you plug this into a computer, it will say black is ahead by 5.5. What that means is black's ahead by about a rook, because rooks are worth 5 points, and being up a rook is more than sufficient to win a game. So white's in danger right now. Queen e4, rook c5. Now she plays rook c5, And like I said, we're both in time pressure, so I play rook f1. I'm still threatening to play queen b1. She plays queen c2 then, to offer queens off and stop me from doing that. So now I find another route with queen e6, because I want to come over to a6 to a1. e4, and I play queen a6. And then knight e3. This attacks my rook on f1, so I play rook e1, re-attacking the knight back. For example, if the knight moves, I don't play queen a1, I can play queen into f1, and white is toast. So the knight can't move. Rook c3 may hold the knight, but then what do you do after queen a1? So she plays rook c7. This is move 40. Her clock was going like 5, 4, 3, 2, got to 2 seconds, and rook c7. So she just made the time control. Otherwise, white would have lost by the default that I had explained earlier. So now there's a piece hanging, so I play rook takes knight. Still threatening to play queen a1 or queen f1. She plays queen c4, threatening a checkmate net of her own if queen f7, followed by queen takes h7 mate. And it stops my queen from getting into f1. I could play queen a1 here. I could also exchange queens because I'm up a piece. I could play queen, rook takes e4 in winning an endgame. But there's a lot simpler. After bishop g3, check, she resigned because you have to play either king h1 or king g1, and then rook e1, queen blocks, queen takes queen is checkmate. Thank you for watching. There will be more videos to come for King March Chess Educators.